All right, YouTube family, our Zoom family, those who are present, welcome to this Friday night weekly Bible study. I gotta tell you that one of the things that prompted this particular Bible study today, I was out taking care of some business this past week, riding down one of our side streets, and I saw this young man. He couldn't have been more than 14, 15 years old, and he had on this shirt, and I'm trying to read it. I stopped my car. I said, "Hey, young man," and he turned around and said exactly what I thought it was saying. It had cult on it with two lightning bolts. And the two lightning bolts, if any of you know anything about the KISS group, Kings in Satan Service, the Satan Service, the S is two lightning bolts. And that comes from Luke 10, where Satan was shot out of heaven like lightning. Yahshua said, I beheld Satan as lightning. So Satan worshipers used those lightning bolts as signs and symbols to him. So he had this cult shirt on with two uh, lightning bolts in the form of an S. And I'm like, man, where'd you get that from? He said, my brother gave it to me. And I just told him, man, you got to be careful, young man. You got to be careful. So, it's amazing to me uh, how far we have fallen as a community. We have, like I said, this used to be a Christian society, so-called. I mean, I know the founding fathers, I don't think they were ever Christian. Because when you look at how they designed, uh, DC, they got all the satanic symbols everywhere. It's just, even Lady Liberty is a goddess. That's a goddess. That's the mother portion of the triune paganistic God. Lady Liberty, they got it. They got her all over the place in DC. So the pagans, the Satan worshipers, the Masonic, they have always had an undertone in this country from the beginning. Before 1776, they have had their influence, but to have the authority to be able to completely structure, even the Washington Monument, which is a phallus symbol to the pagan goddess Nimrod, 555 feet is how high it is. And why is that significant? When you multiply that by 12, it gives you 6,660. Okay, 666 is the height of that phallus symbol called Washington Monument. So Satan's influence has been strong in this country from the foundation, before we became a nation. And so now things are really becoming more open. They used to burn witches here in this country in Salem, right? They used to burn people that they thought were given into Satan worship, but it's right out in the open now. It's right out in the open. So we're going to deal with part 3 of Satan's home court advantage today, and we should be able to wrap it up. Even though he may stick his head up every now and then in some of my future lessons, but we just want to go ahead and close out this portion of the message. Satan's home court advantage, part 3. And Brother Paul, Apostle Paul in 2 Corinthians 2:11 let us know that lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. But the problem is too many people are ignorant of his devices. There's too many that are ignorant of his devices. So I just want to shed some light on his activities in the world so that you can get a better understanding of where we are and also where we're going, okay? So it's important, to know your enemy. You need to know who he is. You need to know how he operates. And we need to understand his influence, his pupils, if you will, those who have aligned themselves with him. We need to have an understanding of who these individuals are and what they're doing. There's a secret group that we know some of who the people are, but we just want to get a better understanding of some of these people, right? So what is it saying right here in 1 John 5:19? And we know that we are of Elohim, and the whole world lies in wickedness. Now, if you look at this picture, you're going to see a lot of people on here that you know. Maybe some that you don't, but there's a lot of people on here that are very famous. You got rappers on here, you got basketball players on here, you got a lot of Hollywood people on here, and what they're flashing there is that symbol. It says right there. It says the sun eye of Horus. When they just give you the one eye, that's a satanic symbol all by itself. When you're just flashing one eye. But then when you put that symbol up there with the three fingers, what we used to call the OK sign, as you can see right in the center of your screen, that stands for 666. 666. So when they're doing that, covering up one eye, you know that they're doing that with their eyes wide open. They know exactly what they're doing. And then this is another symbol, JZ. This is another satanic symbol, satanic sign. And you'll see a lot of people when they're up on stages, they'll be doing this, or they had their hands down, still making this form. So, Satan's people they're right out in public, right out in the open, making it very clear who they are. Here's LeBron James. First of all, you got the satanic eye and star on his chest. I didn't even notice that when we was putting it together, but he got the 666 fingers up. So he's a flat out Satanist. He's making it very clear. He got all the symbols showing, right? Let's learn a little bit about this devil. Isaiah 14:12-20. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground which did weaken the nations? For you have said in your heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of Elohim. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. So this was Satan's boast. His goal is to be like the Most High. And some of the characteristics of the Most High, he's all-knowing, he's all-powerful, he's everywhere present. So Satan is attempting to use technology so that he can become like the Most High. They've got, this facial recognition software so that wherever you are, they'll be able to scan you and know, who you are and where you are. So he's trying to, through technology, be able to become like the Most High. And this is the other thing we need to understand. This is Revelations 12, verses 7 and 8 here. And there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels, and prevailed not. So Satan lost. They prevailed not, neither was their place found any more in heaven. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent, called the devil and Satan. You know how sometimes when your mama get mad at you, they call you your first, middle, and last name, right? So they let us know right here. They're giving all his names. He's a dragon, he's a serpent, he's a devil and Satan. And what does he do? He deceived the whole world. Right? Remember that one verse scripture, the whole world lies in wickedness? He is deceiving the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. So Lucifer, another one of his names, is the light bearer. And as you see right here, that's why you see all these symbols with a candle or torch. This right here is a goddess, and this is in honor of the devil, the light bearer, right? Illuminati means light. To become enlightened. All these terms is a reference to the devil. People, talk about, gaining more insight, more light. We're talking about the devil. And it's all geared towards creating this new world order. And one thing, folks, you need to understand, you cannot have a new unless you do away with the old. Right? And we have been kind of comfortable here in the United States because the United States has kind of been the big man on campus, if you will. We have been the world's police. We've been the world's supply of everything. We've had the monetary system You know, all transactions globally had to be pegged to the dollar. But all that stuff is starting to change. All that stuff is changing because you can't have the New World Order unless you do away with the old order. And the United States has been that order. All right. So this is one of the other verses of scripture here concerning Satan. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knows that he hath but a short time. This is one thing I want folks to recognize. The devil, you know, he's got so many people, I mean, rich and poor, that are rallying behind him right out in the open, you know, joining his forces as if they're going to win this thing. When the devil already knows that he had but a short time. He's already had a run-in with Yahshua after his resurrection. He had a run-in with him, and he knows he's got nothing coming. He knows he has no juice to deal with Yahshua. And so what he's doing now, he's like that person when AIDS first came out, and somebody discovered they got AIDS. And so they get mad because they got AIDS. And so what they want to do, they want to go out and have sex with a lot of people and spread the AIDS around. Well, that's all the devil is. He's trying to, you know, he knows he is destined to go to hell. And the Bible says, the scriptures actually say that hell is enlarging itself, right? It's adding on rooms for all the people who have made a decision that they don't want to accept the Most High's invitation to become one of his children again, to be restored, to be repentant and restored to their first estate. They don't desire that. They want to run with the devil. And so in their choosing to run with the devil, they're choosing his punishment. They're choosing his reward, and all sin has reward. The wages of sin is death. The wages of sin is death. And so Satan knows that he has but a short time, but the inhabitants of the earth, they don't recognize that everything he's doing for their destruction. Everything he's doing, and here's the thing, because he is the God of this world, and we've established that in other lessons, he is the God of this world. So as a result of that, he controls the world's resources. So the devil don't care about giving you monopoly money, right? That's all it is. I mean, this money that we have down here, all the wealth and all the fame and all the fortune that's in this present time does not translate into the kingdom of the Most High. It doesn't translate. It's not going. So I compare it to monopoly money. You know, you can play Monopoly all day long and get all the hotels up, own all the properties and get all the money. But take that money to Walmart, it ain't getting you nothing. And so you try to use that money to spend into the kingdom of the Most High, it's not gonna get you nothing. So the devil doesn't mind, you know, making deals with people. We're gonna see that in future slides. He has no problem making deals with people and say, you know, you run with me and I'll give you the kingdom of the world, right? He has no problem doing that because he knows when everything is said and done, when the final gavel hits in heaven's courtroom, he knows all those people that made those deals with him are going to have the same punishment he's going to have, and he don't care. And what does it say about the devil? The scriptures are telling us to be sober, right? Don't be drunk, but be sober. Be vigilant. That means to be on the watch, right? Why? Because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, now he's not a roaring lion, but he does it as a roaring lion, he's walking about, seeking whom he may devour. Now, he did that with Job. It was a time when the sons of heaven would go up and have an audience with the Most High, and Satan was allowed to go up there as well and have an audience. And this one particular time, the Most High asked Lucifer, "What you been doing?" And he said, "Oh, I've been going up and down in the earth and going to and fro. In other words, I'm trying to find some mischief to get into." And so the Most High asked him, "Have you considered my servant Job?" And so he said, "Yeah, I know about Job, but the reason why Job is serving you because of all the stuff you've given him. But I'll tell you right now, if you take that stuff he's got, you take his wealth away from him, he will curse you to your face." So that scripture is giving us a picture of what the devil does with us. You know, he's going before the Father, accusing us to try to get us out of position where we can't receive what the Most High has for us. And sometimes, because of our foolishness, we will live a life that's not completely upright. And so we're giving the devil ammunition that when he's going before the Father and making these accusations, unfortunately, have merit. And so there's things that the Most High is trying to get to us, but because it's a legal system, he's got to hold it back until you find yourself in right standing. But the devil's going about as a roaring lion, and he's seeking whom he may devour. So let's find out now, how does he work? How exactly does the devil work? Well, one of his biggest tools, probably the greatest tool he ever created, was religion. Because religion is not what Yahshua came for. Yahshua came for relationship. He came for relationship. He said, so what is eternal life? When you ask the question, what is eternal life? People may say, well, it means that I don't have to worry about dying. I'll live forever, eternal, right? Eternal life. But that's not really the definition of eternal life. Eternal life is to know the Father and to know the Son whom he sent. When you know the Father through the Son, that grants you eternal life. It's through knowing the Father, it's through being in that relationship with him. And that's not religion, that's relationship. That is not religion, that's relationship. Religion is all about what man said about God. Religion is what man said about God. But relationship is what you experience when you know the Most High. And so, but this right here, religion, is one of Satan's greatest weapons. I mean, I have to give him a pat on the back for this one, because people are so confused because of religion that they don't know whether they're coming or going. And most people are really burnt out on religion. And I understand it, because, there's a million different gods being worshipped in this world. Rome had a god for every day of the year. So there's so many different gods in this world. I mean, so, it's confusing for people. They don't know what's right, what's wrong. And it's all his fault. This is Nimrod. All the scriptures say about him that he was a mighty hunter before the Most High. But the reality is, Nimrod was a hunter of men's souls. He had the first world rulership. He built the Tower of Babel. That's what you kind of see standing behind him. That's the Tower of Babel. He was building up into the heavens. He wanted to be like the Most High himself. He was being fueled by the devil. And so he wanted to go in, and the devil kind of convinced him that he trying to get your group together, man, and let's see if we can't kill God. And so that was his game plan. We talked about that in one of the previous lessons. So Nimrod's a knucklehead, right? And so they're trying to resurrect this kingdom, this Babylonian kingdom. The system is still there in the ashes, waiting to be resurrected. And he was a father of paganism. And basically all paganism is a worship of multiple gods. Most pagan religions take the form of a father god, mother god, and son of God. And we'll have that diagram again showing the different forms of religions based upon where you're at, whether you're in Babylonian or you're in Rome or Egypt. They all had the same form, the same format, but they just had different names based upon the language they spoke. But this is the triune God that came out of Babylon. You had Nimrod, you had Semiramis, and you had Tammuz. And notice she's the moon goddess of Babylon. This Tammuz was the sun god, or the son of God. Nimrod was the sun god, and all these symbols representing the devil. So it's talking about the entire earth was lying in the power. But this is the format of all paganism. Sun god is the father god, the moon goddess is the mother god, and the reborn son is God's son. And again, in Babylon, Nimrod, Semiramis, and Tammuz. In Egypt, you got Ra, Isis, and Horus. In Greece, you got Zeus, Artemis, and Adonis. In Rome, you have Jupiter, Diana, and Apollo. Nordic, you have Odin, Jor, and Thor. And it's amazing how they've taken many of these characters and created, characters that people are honoring in Hollywood, right? And Thor is a big one. Hindu, you got Vishnu and Chandra and Krishna. And in the Roman Catholic Church, they've got their paganism. They call it, based on Christian terms, God, Virgin Mary, and Jesus. But they are heavy into Virgin Mary worship. They have given her co-saviorship, if you will, with Yahshua. But there's no verse of scripture to support what they do. But they encourage people to pray to Mary, and there's no scripture that supports that. And then you have those individuals that have come right out in the open and they worship the devil. They worship Lucifer and Goddess Diana and the Antichrist. So they're waiting for the Antichrist to come on the scene, and they're going to give all their allegiance to the Antichrist. So one of the things that they're trying to do right now through this religion is to create a coexistence movement. Because most of the religions of the world, they're all saying basically the same thing, right? So they want everybody to kind of do the same thing. Let me go back here just for a second, because this coexist. If somebody's saying something different, right? And I kind of gave the parable, a few weeks ago. If you're in a storm situation and there's been flooding and the waters come and wash the bridge out, and you got this bridge that normally goes over this flowing river, and it's rained so much that the bridge has been washed out. And so you got one guy out there telling people, hey, you need to stop, man. The bridge is out. The bridge is out. It's not safe. You're going to die. You need to, go down this other road, right? And then you have this other person saying, man, don't listen to him. The bridge is fine, man. You just keep going straight. It's going to save you so much time, man. You go that way, you're going to get messed up. But if you keep going this way, you're going to be all right. Now, both of those people can't be right at the same time. Right. Somebody's got to be right, and somebody's got to be wrong. And so likewise, in these religions, they have all different forms of belief. A lot of the Eastern religions believe in reincarnation. The same soul just going from a person to person to person, or from animal to animal to animal. But the scriptures say clearly, it's appointed unto man once to die, and after death, the judgment. So every soul is a unique soul, and it's not being, recycled, into other people or into other animals. But some of these religions believe that. So you can't have all of these existing at the same time when they have different beliefs.
Hey, but what is the have more than that sky? What that mean?
That's the Muslim faith.
Muslim?
It's different. These are different religions.
And that like there's a peace sign, right?
Peace sign is so-called. That's a Satan symbol, satanic symbol. This right here is talking about male and female.
Oh, yeah.
It's male and female in the one. And so and they get that because Satan, through his Baphomet is both male and female in one.
Oh yeah.
Right. So that's a satanic symbol as well. Okay. This right here is supposed to be this called the Star of David, but it's not the Star of David. The Bible says nothing and gives no reference to a Star of David. Right. This is another very highly satanic symbol. And so virtually all of this stuff here that you see is all satanic. It's all satanic. Yin and yang, is what this is.
Chinese.
It's Chinese, right? Yin and yang, right? And then you got a whole lot of different false religions that use the cross, right? So it's not just Christianity. Right here, what you're looking at here is they're right out in the open. They got the star. This star, when you have the point down, is in reference to Satan. That's flat out Satan. A lot of times they have a goat head in the middle of that. But they're literally right here getting ready to sacrifice this animal. They're probably going to, be drinking the blood. The satanic process is going on here right now, right? And that's a goat. That's a goat, okay? And it even affected the people of the Most High. It says here in Judges 2:13, they forsook Yahweh and served Baal and Ashtaroth, who we call Ishtar or Easter today. Yeah, they the children of Israel failed the Most High horribly, and they worship a lot of false gods. Even the Queen of Heaven, they bake cakes to the Queen of Heaven. They did a lot of stuff, man, to provoke him to anger. Okay, so the question now is, who do you serve, right? Who do you serve? You know, these are another series of symbols. You got the swastika here. This existed before Nazi Germany. You know, that is another satanic symbol. And again, you're seeing a lot of these other symbols that we talked about, the yin and the yang again, the 9-point star, Buddhism stars. So all these things are more paganistic symbols, okay? And again, all pagan religions are a false light from the light bearer Lucifer. It's a false light. You know, some people are drawn to it, but they're drawn to it because he wants to, you know, like you know, when you look at a spider web after the rain, and when light hits it, it sparkles, man. It sparkles, and it draws, you know, moths into it. It draws a lot of winged. They get in there, man, and it takes them to their death. Yeah. And that's all the devil's trying to do. He's a light bearer. He's got the light shining, but once you get in there, it's going to lead to your death. But people, people don't recognize it, right? And again, outright Satanist. He's all about trying to get to your kids. You know, he wants the kids. You know, he wants them bad. When Yahshua was being tempted, this gives the account of it in Matthew 4:8-10. And again, the devil taketh him up into an exceeding high mountain, and showeth him all the kingdoms of the world and the glory of them, and said unto him, all these things will I give thee, if thou wilt fall down and worship me. Then Yahshua said unto him, get thee behind me, Satan, get thee in, Satan, for it is written, thou shalt worship Yahweh your Elohim, and him only shall you serve. So the kingdoms were being offered to Yahshua. Yahshua turned him down, right? He turned him down. But the question is, do you think Satan ended the temptation with Yahshua? Didn't Genesis 3:15 say that Satan would have a seed also? He would have a people on the earth, right? So right here, you're looking at Rothschild and David Rockefeller. The famous and the elite have sold their souls to the devil. They have signed on a dotted line. They have absolutely signed on a dotted line. And he made them the same deal he made to Yahshua. And a lot of them, you know, they're rolling. But you know what? You know, they're only on top for a little while. Right. This guy had made, well, a lot of them made a lot of money, millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars. But, you know, then they get on the cocaine, and they get on the different stuff, and they blow through millions of dollars, you know, like it's nothing. Right. You know, 5 years after people have been in the football and basketball, pros making millions of dollars, 5 years later, high percentage of them, over 60%, bankrupt, broke, right? So the devil doesn't care about throwing that monopoly money around to get you to serve him, because he knows in the end, it's only temporary. But they're making these deals with the devil. People are making these deals with the devil. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. But this is the Rothschild family. This is one of the oldest families that controls huge amounts of money. They say there are 13 families that control over 50% of the wealth in the world. 13.
I heard that before.
Mm-hmm.
I heard that.
Yeah, but this is one of the families. You know, the Rothschilds go way back. They were the bankers of England. And they used to say, we don't care who's sitting on the throne, because the person who controls the money is the person who controls this world, and we control the money, right? So this is what David Rockefeller had to say. Some even believe we, the Rockefeller family, are part of a secret cabal working against the best interests of the United States. Characterizing my family and me as internationalists, and really all that is, internationalist is a person that believes that the interests of multiple nations is better than being in the interest of just one nation. So the Rockefeller family said, okay, if we can strike a relationship with a family in China, and we can strike a relationship with a family in Egypt, and we can strike a relationship with a family, you know, in Europe, and you know, they got the money and the wherewithal to run with us and to join with us so that we can join forces and run this world. That's better than us having an allegiance to just, you know, the United States alone.
Right.
And so that's an internationalist, okay? So he says, characterizing my family and me as internationalists and of conspiring with others around the world to build a more integrated global political and economic structure, one world, if you will. If that's the charge, I stand guilty, and I'm proud of it. That's David Rockefeller.
Right.
Yeah. If that's the charge, I stand guilty. Right. So now the question is, who controls the media? See, when you're watching TV, you're watching television programming. Television programming. You're being programmed. You're being programmed. You're being programmed. So what did David Rockefeller say about that? We are grateful to the Washington Post, the New York Times, Time Magazine, and other great publications whose directors have attended our meetings and respected their promise of discretion for almost 40 years. It would have been impossible for us to develop our plan for the world if we had been subjected to the lights of publicity during those years. But the world is more sophisticated and prepared to march towards a world government. So this guy, and here's the thing, for him to be able to make a statement like that, that simply means they've gotten so much underway now that the tide is going out so far, it can't come back. You know, it is inevitable that the one world government is going to take shape. Right. Everything is in place. Everything is in place. In fact, another one of his statements was, all we need is one great world event to happen. And, you know, it'll be perfect for the bringing on the one world government. He said, we're just one major event away from bringing on the one world government. So these guys are bold. They're doing this right out in the open. They're not trying to hide it. They don't care. They're doing it right out in the open. So Satan is absolutely the God of this world. He's given his resources to various families, and they are using it for his plan. Without a question, they're using it for his plan. The scripture says in 2 Corinthians 4:3-4, but if our gospel be hid, it is hid to them that are lost, in whom the God of this world has blinded the minds of them which believe not, lest the light of the glorious gospel of Mashiach, who is the image of Elohim, should shine unto them. So he has blinded this world. He has absolutely blinded this world. And they think they got it going on. I mean, you know, the LeBrons of the world, you know, the Rockefellers of the world, they think, you know, because they rolling and they got money, they got all this stuff, they got influence. You know, that stuff is only for a season. Right. It's only for a season. It's not going to last forever. It's not going to last forever. James 4:4 says, ye daughters and daughtresses, know ye not that the friendship of the world is enmity? Enmity is like a great gulf that separates, right? It's enmity with Elohim. Whosoever therefore will be a friend of the world is the enemy of Elohim. So in other words, the line has been drawn in the sand. You know, it's either, you know, you're going to be for the Most High, or you're going to be against him. Right. You know, there's no straddling the fence. You know, straddling the picket fence is not comfortable, folks. It's not comfortable. And then, you know, secret societies, they've been running stuff forever. You know, I've renounced my association with, you know, secret society. I was a captain at University of Michigan, and the fraternities, they call them the Divine Nine. They're nothing but the children and the offspring of the Masonic fraternity. And the Masons, you know, they got 33 levels. And when you get to the 33rd level, they flat out say, we worship the devil. And so they created the Divine Nine as kind of a entry level point for people to get involved. Right. Pull you in, right? And then what happens is a lot of times when people, you know, get into the fraternities, once they realize that the Masonic is really the granddaddy, some of them will transition into the Masonic, and then they start going up those levels. Shaquille O'Neal is a Mason. And here's how the devil works. He has these secret societies, and they know that they are worshiping the devil, and they have control over industry. So when a person makes a decision to join forces with these secret societies, then oftentimes it can lead to open doors that otherwise you wouldn't experience. So, through their worship of the devil, they make these agreements with other people who are worshiping the devil, and they get, major positions in companies and corporations. I mean, I look at Shaquille O'Neal, I call him the advertising hoe, right? Because brother, he's on TV all day long, advertising one thing or another, right? But that was before I knew that he was a Mason. Now that I know he's a Mason, now I see why he's getting all these contracts, right? He's probably one of the wealthiest, former athletes on the planet, because he didn't know how to spend his money.
Right.
He was very, very thrifty with his money.
And investing.
Oh yeah, he invests in a lot of stuff. So the brothers, there's no question that he's rolling.
Right.
But the problem is who he's rolling with. Okay,
right.
He's gonna find out in the end unless he come to himself and realize that brother, you made the wrong choice, because you can't take that money with you when it's time to meet the maker. So in essence, all these things is taking place for what purpose? It's the rise of the beast, to bring this devil on the scene. Okay, for decades, the seed of Satan, they had to work underground, but no longer. Like I say, they're right out in the open, doing their thing, man. He got the eye of Horus right on the shirt. He's a worshiper of Satan. They're right out there in the open. That's Jay-Z, and this is his wife, Beyonce, making her satanic symbols right out in the open. She has made so many different. In fact, she said when she performs, she becomes Sasha, which is a demon spirit that takes her over. Yeah. So she's all into it, man. She is all into it. And these are satanic symbols, right? That's the devil horns.
I knew he was.
Right? And look at this. This is at the event. These circles are showing all these people right out in the open with Satan horns on. Satan horns on her hand making the devil horns with her hand, and it's not enough that you got horns on your head, but you got to do it with your hand too, right? They're all right out in the open. They're all into it, man. They're all into it, right? But this right here, these are families. We talked about the Rockefellers already. We talked about the Rothschild, but these are some other families, old money, that's been worshiping the devil for years. These are the 13. These are 13 families that control the vast majority of the wealth in this world. Okay, and the question is, where are you in this worldwide scheme, right? So on the very bottom, you got the ignorant folks that don't know. They don't know. Ignorant debt slave, because the borrower is servant of the lender. And so the people who's lending the money, the people that control the money, is way up here. They're at the top, right? Human resources and labor, unit control that goes next, and governments, media, religion, and education is a relatively low plane. And they control people through all these different things, through government, through media, through religion, and through education. Rockefeller was one of the people that kind of funded education in the United States. And he said, I don't care about people being intelligent. I want them to be workers. I want to educate workers, right? But he's the one that's funded most of the education in this country. So you got to know, if he's funding it, he does not want it to illuminate people, educate people to where they have an understanding. He just wants people, man, that's just working slaves, man. That's all he's looking for. That's all they work for. Yeah, world population control, private corporations, world natural resource control, world finance control, global think tanks, the rich and powerful subfamilies, the Soros of the world, some of the people that they let you see, folks that run Amazon and Microsoft and those folks, those are that's up in the public like that, the Elon Musk world, they got some money, but the money that they got does not compare to the money that the Crown Council have, right? The Committee of 300, those folks got trillions,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
You know, they control, like I said, half the wealth of this world. But they all, you know, he knows at the very top that's that one eye of the devil, the eye of Horus.
That'd be on the money, right?
Yeah, it's on a dollar bill, exactly. And if you study it, well, we're gonna see that in a minute. So all these people, you know, have given themselves over to worshiping the devil. They all have done that. These are all Satan's people, you know, and you know,
That's kind of what.
Yes.
Yeah.
you know, it's just tripped out to me that, you know, I've taken such a position since I've been, you know, doing a lot of study. I don't know if I'm ever going back to another movie. You know, even the Avengers movies, they got so much satanic stuff. When there's a scene in the Matrix when Morpheus is telling Neo about when he's first telling him about the Matrix, and then he has this one scene, and they go into this room where there's nothing in it. Basically, when they first right, right, that one scene, and he said, you know, and this is the construct, and in here, you know, we can get guns, we can get this, everything that we need, and he makes this pose, right? That's the pose of the Baphomet. That's the satanic pose. Yes. And if you look at the statue of Washington, George Washington, where he has no shirt on, he's got this like a blanket or something over him. He is posing like the Baphomet, the statue of the devil.
Right.
So this stuff has been all over, right? It's been in plain view all this time. But nobody knows it because if you're not enlightened in terms of some of this stuff, you won't know it. Right? I mean, so many of these folk, they're in it, they know what they're doing. I mean, when he did that, I said, man, I'm done. I'm not spending my money to support this foolishness. I'm just not going to do it. So do you know what Satanism is? What are some of your concepts? Is it, you know, drinking the blood? Or is it cannibalism? You know, what are your thoughts? What is Satanism? Doing anything that does not have to do with Yahweh? That's a good answer, actually. That's a very good answer. Because if you look at these satanic ritual books, they can all be summarized in one statement. Do whatever you want, right? Basically, do whatever you want, but more specifically, do whatever you want as long as it's not worshiping the Most High.
Oh, wow, that's deep.
That's all they're concerned about. See, he doesn't necessarily care that you bow down to a red figure with pointed ears and, you know, horns. He just does not want you to give your allegiance to the Most High. And so a lot of people, you know, think when they say, you know, do what you want or have it, you know, have it your own way and all this kind of stuff, whatever the saying is, it's my life, I'm gonna live it my way. I'm gonna do it my way. It sounds innocent, but it's not. Because the Most High is not a politician. In other words, he's not running a democracy. Right? He is a king. He's the creator. Right? He made everything. And he created man to be in fellowship and to worship him. So we can't choose to live our lives just any old way. And we certainly can't choose to live our lives any old way and think we're going to worship him any old kind of way. You know, I just saw a report not too long ago, 150-year-old church made a decision they were going to support, you know, the LGBTQ community, LGBTQ community, and so they had a special service, you know, in honor of them, and the building got struck by lightning and burned to the ground. I mean, there was nothing left. It was a 150-year-old church. There's nothing left, right? And so, you know, all the reports came out, you know, 150-year-old church, you know, go against the, you know, the will of the Most High, and it gets, you know, struck by lightning and burned to the ground. Because people recognize, you know, be not deceived. Elohim is not mocked. Whatever a man sowed, that shall he also reap. You know, so he's not playing games, man. He's already made it clear. The same thing that happened with Sodom and Gomorrah is what happened. You know what I mean? Go ahead.
It was this thing that I saw, and basically they was having a little festival. I think it was in like Brazil or something, and they was having this festival, and they was mocking him.
Mocking the Most High?
Yeah. Next thing you know, the very next day, flooded.
Wow.
House is gone, everything. And then it was like this one thing. It was like they zoomed in, I guess, and they literally saw a demon run out, and I was like,
Are you serious? Wow.
Don't do that.
Right, right. That's amazing. Okay. All right. Arthur Crowley. This guy has been responsible. He's dead now. He's assigned his name with 666 on it. He called himself the Beast. And he did so many horrific things. He led so many people astray. He took advantage of so many children. He's a pedophile. He just anything evil, he was involved with it. When he died miserable because he was hoping he was going to live long enough to become the Antichrist. That was his goal. And so when he died miserable because he didn't see that day. But this is, Lady Gaga, he says, do what thou wilt. And she made her song, do what you want, right? Just do what you want. No, that's Satan's goal. One thing, Misery Light Company, so they may on the outside seem like they got it going on, but, they are miserable. I mean, who was that guy? Elvis Presley was another one.
Yeah.
Heavily into Satan worship. Heavily, he used to call himself, Jesus. He felt like he had it going on like Jesus. And he was getting ready to get married right near the end of his life. And he was so depressed that he stayed up all night reading a satanic book and doing drugs.
Yeah,
he was supposed to get married that week, and he ended up ODing that night. So a lot of these people give themselves over to that, but there is no pleasure. There's really no joy in it. They need to find out that if you want peace, you need to go to the Prince of Peace, and that's Yahshua. Right. And look at what Jay-Z got on his shirt. Do what thou wilt. I mean, he
all into it,
he's all in, man. Why do you think he's one of the richest? Because
he got some money. He got
he sold himself out, man. Him and his wife.
Yeah.
Sold themselves out to that lifestyle. Yeah. That's the devil's tool. So the strategy of Satan for the world. What is his strategy? He wants people to have a tolerance for him, and that is happening. Right now, if you go to Universal Studios, they've got a whole area dedicated to Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Right, and Harry Potter is so popular that they can make a Harry Potter theme park now. It's not enough that they have a section at Universal Studios. They need to have a whole theme park dedicated to Harry Potter.
And that's a witchy thing.
Oh yes, and people are going out there literally getting wands and books and casting spells right there at the park. So talk about having a tolerance. It's not just a tolerance for it. They right out in the open supporting the foolishness that satanic worship.
Right.
And his other tool is to distract people away from the Most High. He wants to distract people away from the Most High. And there's a lot of that, people get caught up in, whether it's in a lot of television. Television is almost like hypnotizing people, right? So people need to recognize that, you got to give more attention to the things of the Most High. There's not going to be an excuse. If you watch 2 movies, that's almost, depending on how long it is, 3.5, 4 hours. Some movies are 2.5 hours. But if you can watch 4 hours of television, you can definitely read at least an hour a day of the Bible. Right. But most people are not giving the Most High that kind of time. And when it comes time for them to give an account of their lives, they're going to be without excuse. Because he said, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. But why do we have a lack of knowledge?
You got a book, right?
He left you everything you need to know. Everything you need to know is right there in the book, and folk are just not giving attention to it. So people won't be without excuse. Tolerance becomes a crime when it applies to evil because there's no place for it. If you're tolerating sin, and in some cases supporting it, how do you support it? Well, if you're listening to things that are satanic, if you're watching things that are satanic. The Harry Potter movies, I've never seen any of them. But you got some preachers that are preaching Harry Potter. They talk, comparing Harry Potter books to the Bible. I literally saw this. I said, what is your problem, dude? you know, wearing Harry Potter's shirts on.
Mm.
Now, if you tolerate that stuff, man, that is plain old evil. So all these activities of the devil is leading to the rise of the one world government. And in this one world government is going to have a one world religion. You know, and he doesn't care what religion you are in, as long as it's not one that's promoting the Most High, right? And the reality is, when you look at the religious environment, the people that serve the Most High are going to become enemies of the state.
Right.
They're going to become enemies of the state. So you gotta be prepared for that. You know, the Pope has been on a world tour, you know, for the last few years. You know, and the Pope he declares that one world religion. He claims that all religions worship the same God, and that is, and you know, most of all the pagan religions, that's true, because they all serving the devil, including the Catholic Church. One thing I was going to include, I may put in one of my future lessons, but somebody got a hold of some of the Catholic prayers that they're praying in Latin, and you could literally see in the words, they translated it, that they were praying to Lucifer. And then if you listen carefully, you can hear him saying Lucifer in Latin, but it still comes out Lucifer, but they say it so fast
Right.
that the people aren't hearing it.
Yeah.
But because here's the thing, you go to a Catholic church and they're praying in Latin, which most of the people don't know,
Right.
and they're praying over them, you know, these satanic prayers.
Mm.
So all the pagan religions are all serving the same God, but it's Satan.
Satan.
Yeah.
Mm.
And their goal is to bring the Antichrist on the scene. This is going to be the end game, you know, bringing the Antichrist on the scene. And it's really right around the corner. 2 Thessalonians 2, verses 1 through 9. Now we beseech you, brethren, by the coming of of Yahweh, Yahshua HaMashiach, and by our gathering together unto him, that you be not soon shaken in mind, or be troubled neither by spirit, nor by word, nor by letter as from us, as that day of Mashiach is at hand. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first. And we're in that season right now. You know, the churches are dwindling, the memberships are dwindling. So there's a falling away of those who are among the believers, right? And that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition, that's the Antichrist, who opposes and exalts himself above all that is called Elohim, or that is worshipped, so that he as Elohim, or as God, sits in the temple of Elohim, showing himself that he is Elohim, or as God, right? So there's a temple that's going to be built. And so that's one of the signs of the end time. It hasn't been built yet in Jerusalem, but it's coming. It's coming. Remember ye now that when I was yet with you, I told you these things. And now you know what withholds, that he might be revealed in his time. For the mystery of iniquity does already work. Only he who now lets will let, until he be taken out of the way. This mystery of iniquity. Iniquity is sin. It's like the sin that's passed down from the fathers. The iniquities of the fathers will be visited unto their children to the third and fourth generation. It is a mystery, you know, that a person may not even know who their parent is, but they can grow up and become just like them, have not even been raised by them, right? They could have been raised in a completely different family, have completely different traits, but that mystery of iniquity can still show up in the blood. So, you know, one of the things that we do in the Hebrew faith is that we break off the bondages of those iniquities, the things that our forefathers did. You know, the iniquities of our forefathers are visited to the children. So it's a mystery how it works. And then shall that wicked be revealed, whom Adon shall consume with the spirit of his mouth. This wicked is going to be revealed, but Yahweh is going to consume him with the spirit of his mouth, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming. Even him whose coming is after the working of Satan, with all power and signs and lying wonders. When Antichrist comes on the scene, the reality is, if we are not informed and we're not filled with his spirit, he will be able to deceive even the very elect. So, you have to know what's coming. You have to know what to look for. Because when he comes, I mean, he's going to have power and signs and wonders. And so people going to see him and they're going to be marveling over this guy.
Mm.
The same way people, if you ever see how people marvel when Michael Jackson performed or when the Beatles perform. I mean, they crying and jumping up and down like man, it's ridiculous. Well, it's going to be worse when the Antichrist come on the scene. They're going to be just going after him, drooling over this guy. Who can make war with him, they're going to be saying. And with all deceivableness of unrighteousness in them that perish, because they receive not the love of the truth, that they might be saved. There's people, it's amazing. There's one person that have gone out of his way to demonstrate his love, right? The Most High, he loved the world so much that he gave his only begotten son, right? That whoever believe in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. And the son, his life was not taken, but he laid it down. He laid it down for the whole world, that whoever will believe on him should not perish. And so you can't show any greater love than to lay down your life for your friends.
Yeah.
But people are running away from him in droves to run to a devil whose only purpose is to steal, kill, and destroy.
Right.
He already knows that his fate has been sealed. He already knows that his destiny has been set, and that he's going to a burning hell. And so his whole purpose is, the devil's whole purpose is to take people with him.
Right.
This AIDS-filled devil want to pass his AIDS around to as many people as he can, so they can all be infected just like he is.
That ain't cool.
Yeah, but the whole world lies in wickedness.
Right.
They're being drawn to his foolishness, and it makes no sense to me. Again, that's another mystery of iniquity. So this is a picture of the temple in Jerusalem. And the reality is, this is coming. Once they start saying that the building of the temple is taking place in Jerusalem, it's a countdown at that point. It's a countdown at that point. Opinion. The third temple will be rebuilt. The heading doesn't have a lot, but it's all about, if you open it up, it's all about the third temple being rebuilt, okay? This is just a whole bunch of symbols of things. I'm not gonna go over all of this. This right here is what you see on the dollar. Novus Ordo Seclorum. This is on the dollar, right? Satan's scheme to be worshipped on the mountain of Elohim. So what does that stand for? This top part, Annuit Corpus, he, God, has approved our undertaking. So it's talking about Satan has approved our undertaking. And this Novus Ordo Seclorum, a new order of the ages is born. Or in other words, a new world order. A new order of the ages is born, okay? So this is what's on the dollar bill right here. So none of these things have anything to do with the Most High.
Right.
None of them do, all right? It's all about serving the devil. This is what a church leader said. The church's greatest mistake occur when the people of Elohim honor what a leader says without examining that instruction in the light of Scripture. And why did I put that there? Because it's so important. One of the reasons why I when I quote a scripture, I put it on the screen because I want people to see what's being said and where it's coming from.
Right.
Take notes so you can go back and review the information again. Don't just people when they follow Jim Jones, he used to tell them that his word was more important than the Bible.
Right.
And so when it got to the end, and it said, hey, I need you guys to drink this Kool-Aid. Y'all believe in me, right? I need y'all to drink this Kool-Aid. And hundreds of people drank that Kool-Aid and died. All right, so again, the church's greatest mistakes occur when the people of Elohim honor what a leader says without examining that instruction in the light of Scripture. Brian Chappell. So the strategy of Satan for the church. He has a strategy for the church. What are some of the strategies that the devil has for the church? He tempts the church. James 1:13-15. Let no man say when he is tempted, I am tempted of Elohim. For Elohim cannot be tempted with evil, neither tempts he any man. But every man is tempted when he is drawn away of his own lust and enticed. Then when lust has conceived, it brings forth sin. And sin, when it is finished, it brings forth death. So Satan tempts people. And this is one reason why I call this the home court advantage. Satan has a home court advantage. Because he has three tools: the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life. And so those are his weapons. And he's dealing with people who live in what? A fleshly body. We live in a fleshly body. And this fleshly body, if you give it more attention, it's going to crave to be fulfilled with the sin of whatever that flesh craves. Everybody's flesh has a different craving. Some people, I was watching this one program, and this guy said, I used to be a lead accountant for a major firm, had my own cubicle, I was running the department, and all of a sudden, he took a hit of a crack valve, and he was never the same. And now he's hanging out in drug houses, getting high, right? Because now he lives for crack, right. Where he was a college graduate, very intelligent, counting stacks of money, right? And now he hit that crack valve, and now that craving in his flesh is driving him, right? And but let no man say when he's tempted, I am being tempted by Elohim. For Elohim cannot be tempted with evil, neither tempts he any man. But every man is tempted when he is drawn away of his own lust and enticed. And when that lust is conceived, it brings forth sin. And sin, when it's finished, it brings forth death. That's the wages of sin. It's death. His next weapon, he accuses the brethren. Revelation 12:10. And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now has come salvation and strength in the kingdom of our Elohim and the power of his Mashiach. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our Elohim day and night. Dude don't even sleep. All he's doing is accusing the brothers. First of all, and this is bold, the temptation is coming from the devil, right? He's bringing a temptation that's stimulating your flesh because he knows what everybody's temptation is. So he's going to set up the environment. And so we got to, live this world with our eyes wide open and not put ourselves in a position where we can fulfill the lust of the flesh, right? So the devil is setting up the situation. And then when you fall prey to it, then he goes to the Father and start accusing you, right? And that's just wrong. Right. That's how he operates because he cares nothing about a human. He hates every human, including every human that struck a deal with him. He don't care about them. He just used them. He just used them. The third thing he does is condemn the brethren. 1 Timothy 3:1-7. This is a true saying. If a man desires the office of a bishop, he desires a good work. A bishop then must be blameless, the husband of one wife, vigilant, sober, of good behavior, given to hospitality, apt to teach, not given to wine, no striker, not greedy of filthy lucre, but patient, not a brawler, not covetous, one that rules well his own house, having his children in subjection with all gravity. For if a man knows not how to rule his own house, how shall he take care of the church of Elohim? So these are all great things, right? For a person that's looking for a leadership office in the kingdom. But you can't get somebody that's brand new in this thing, not a novice. A novice is somebody, maybe saved a year, maybe 2 years, maybe even 3 years. And if he's not doing a lot of praying and studying, he's not ready, okay? Not a novice, lest being lifted up with pride, he falls into what? The condemnation of the devil. Now, condemning, when you walk by a building, if it has a condemned sign on it, the next step for that building is going to be torn down. It's going to be torn down. So what the devil's trying to do, he wants to bring condemnation to the individuals of the Most High, because once you get to the place where you feel in the condemnation of the devil, the next step is basically, self-destruction. So that's one of his goals. Moreover, he must have a good report of them which are without, lest he falls into reproach and the snare of the devil. Okay? So if you fall into reproach, that means that the people around you, you don't have a good report of them. And so no matter where you go, it's not more like they bring an accusation to you. And so if you're constantly being under scrutiny because the life you're living is not upright, now you're ready for a snare of the devil. You're being set up for that. So he's trying to create an environment. And I heard this one guy, I'm not going to mention his name, but he's been in ministry for years. But he was caught up in some relationships outside of marriage. And the information came out. And this guy had been on TV and all kind of stuff. And so somebody was recording him. He was having a conversation with somebody. And he was cursing and stuff and talking about, if this stuff come out, man, I may as well commit suicide. Because I tell you, man, if my wife found out about this, it's going to be all over. And he was cursing and talking all kind of stuff. I'm like, man, this is ridiculous, man. But that's what the devil wants.
Right.
If once you reach the status of condemnation, now he's looking for a cliff to jump off of. Because his reputation is jacked up.
Yeah.
And this guy's reputation was jacked up. He wants to kill. John 10:10. The thief comes not, but for to steal and to kill and to destroy. He ain't coming on the scene unless he can do one of them three things.
Right.
He want to steal something, he want to kill something, he want to destroy something. He ain't trying to build nothing, he ain't trying to help nothing. He want to bring theft, murder, and destruction. That's all he's about. But Yahshua said, I am come, that they might have life, and they might have it more abundantly. Now you look at this contrasting picture of these two individuals. The devil on one side, all he's about is stealing, killing, and destroying.
Right.
Yahshua on the other side, who's already made a declaration that all I'm about is that you might have life and have it abundantly. Now you would think the people would be running Yahshua down, can't wait to get to him.
Right.
But he said that the folk that's going to come to the kingdom of heaven are going to be coming in a narrow gate. It's only going to be a few people that's going to find it. Because the people that's following the devil, they got a broad road and a wide gate.
Wide
open, and there's a whole bunch of folk that's finding it. That's the upside down world, man, that we're living in. That's upside down, backwards, inside out. Any kind of term you want to say, it makes no sense.
Right.
But that's the reality.
Yeah.
That's the reality.
Yeah.
You look at a good picture of it is Noah. He was preaching for 120 years, building the ark, warning people the flood is coming. After 120 years of preaching, only 8 people got on the boat.
Right.
Everybody else died because they did not one convert.
I'm reading that on my copy.
Yeah.
I heard about that on my copy.
Bruh, not one convert. Out of the hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of people, only 8 people got on the boat.
Yeah.
Right? So it's an upside down world, man. So what is our solution? 2 Corinthians 5:17 says, if any man be in Mashiach, he is a new creature. Old things are passed away. I don't care what your life consisted of in the past. I don't care what things you've done in the past. I don't care. Moses was a murderer. Paul the apostle was a mass murderer. And they both did great things for the Most High. Therefore, if any man be in Mashiach, he is a new creature. Old things are passed away. Behold, stop, look, and listen is what that word means. All things are become new, right? That's the solution. First and foremost, accept the Most High as your Savior. Throw that past. He said, when you come to him, as far as the east is from the west, that's where your sins are as far as he's concerned. He throw them things in the sea of forgiveness. He don't care. And then Isaiah 54:17, it says, no weapon that's formed against you shall prosper. And every tongue that shall rise against you in judgment, the Most High is saying that you will condemn it. This is the heritage of the servants of Yahweh. and their righteousness, our righteousness, is of the Most High. When he says we're righteous, that's all that matters.
Right.
That's all that matters. I don't care what temptation, I don't care what condemnation, I don't care what snare the devil try to bring. The Most High saying, if you knew and you're in me, I got you. I got you, right? Our victory, Revelations 20, and we're almost done here. We're gonna get done. We might get done early, depending on any question. Revelations 20, verses 1 through 3, and then verses 7 through 10. And I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the keys of the bottomless pit, and a great chain in his hands. And he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years, and cast him into the bottomless pit, and shut him up, and set a seal upon him, that he see the nations no more, till the 1,000 years should be fulfilled. And after that, he must be loosed a season. Verse 7. And when the 1,000 years are expired, Satan shall be loosed out of his prison, and shall go out and do what? Deceive the nations, right? That's all he's doing is deceiving people. He's doing it now, he's going to do it again. He shall go out and deceive the nations, which are in the four quarters of the earth, Gog and Magog, together to battle, the number of whom is as the sand of the sea. And they went up on the breadth of the earth, and compassed the camp of the saints about, and the beloved city, Jerusalem, right? And fire came down from Elohim out of heaven, and devoured them. And the devil that deceived them was cast into the lake of fire and brimstone, where the beast and the false prophet are, and shall be tormented day and night forever and ever, period. The end, devil, right?
Yeah, I like that part.
Right? After all this stuff that he does, after all these people he got following him, and the one part I left out of it, and I probably should have put it in there, was the great white throne judgment.
What is that?
It's in the same chapter. In fact, I'm going to take you to it. And we're going to wrap up with that. Let's start at verse 4. And I saw thrones, and they sat upon them, and judgment was given unto them. And I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Yahshua, and for the word of Elohim, and which had not worshipped the beast, neither his image, neither had received his mark upon their foreheads or in their hands, and they lived and reigned with Mashiach 1,000 years, right? So these people that did not receive the devil's mark, the beast mark, they reigned with Christ 1,000 years, right? But the rest of the dead lived not again until the 1,000 years were finished. This is the first resurrection. Blessed and holy is he that hath part in the first resurrection. On such the second death hath no part, but they shall be priests of Elohim and of Mashiach, and shall reign with him 1,000 years. 1,000 years, right? If that was the end of it, that'd be cool right there. And when 1,000 years are expired, Satan shall be loosed out of his prison, and shall go and deceive the nation which are in the four quarters of the earth, right? So we read that, right? And he got thrown into the fire, and he's being tormented day and night forever and ever. Verse 11. And I saw a great white throne, and him that sat on it, for whose face the earth and the heaven fled away, and there was found no place for them. And I saw the dead, small and great, right? The Rothschilds was there, right? The Rockefellers were there.
Yeah.
All them folk were there, standing before Elohim, and the books were open. And another book was open, which is a book of life. And the dead were judged out of those things which were written in the books, according to their works. And the sea gave up the dead which were in them. When people die at sea, they throw them in the sea. So all the people that died in the sea, they gave them up. And death and hell delivered up the dead which were in them. And they were judged every man, say every man according to their works. And death and hell were cast into the lake of fire. This is the second death. And whosoever was not found written in the book of life was cast into the lake of fire. All right. So that's their fate.
Right.
And I'm going to just read a few of these verses, and we're going to be done for the day, because we're doing good on time. And I saw a new heaven and a new earth. For the first heaven and the first earth were passed away, and there was no more sea. And I, John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down from Elohim out of heaven, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. And I heard a great voice out of heaven saying, behold, the tabernacle of Elohim is with men. That means that the creator of heaven and earth is living with us. We're going to see him, right? And he will dwell with them. And they shall be his people. And Elohim himself shall be with them and be their Elohim. And look at this now. This is awesome. And Elohim shall wipe away all tears from their eyes. And there shall be no more death, neither sorrow, nor crying, neither shall there be any more pain. For the former things are passed away. Can you imagine that? This is worth reading again. Elohim shall wipe away all tears from their eyes. There shall be no more death, neither sorrow. Have anybody in here ever been sorrowful about anything? I'm just wondering. Nor crying. Has anybody in here ever cried about something before?
Yeah.
Neither shall there be any more pain. Has anybody in here experienced any pain before?
Yeah.
For the former things are passed away. And he that sat upon the throne said, behold, I make all things new. And he said unto me, write, for these words are what? True and faithful. And he said unto me, it is done. I am, he says here, Alpha and Omega, but I'm the Aleph and the Tav in Hebrew, the beginning and the end. I will give unto him that is athirst of the fountain of water of life freely. He that overcomes shall inherit all things, and I will be his Elohim, and he shall be my son. We're going to stop right there. The Most High is awesome. I don't care what the devil's plan is. He ain't got nothing coming. He ain't got nothing coming.
He's a done deal.
He's a done deal. He said, it is done. I am the beginning and the end.
It's
Right?
over.
It's over. Right?
See you later. Bye-bye.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
that's
that was
it.
great. That was great.
Yeah. So
I
we.
dig that. Yeah, I was into that one.
That was a good one, right?
Yeah.
So we're thankful for this lesson tonight. I hope you got something out of it.
I did that.
All right. So we're gonna get ready to pray out. Oh man, Tim, I'm just excited.
Yeah, I got deep too.
Yeah, they got me fired up.
got me
They
deep.
got me fired up right there. All right.
Got me deep.
All right. Blessed are you, Yahweh Yahshua, our Elohim, King of the universe, who gave us a Torah of truth and implanted eternal life within us. Blessed are you, Yahweh Yahshua, giver of the Torah, in Yeshua's name, so be it. And then run a benediction. Yudekaka Yahweh Vadishmareka. Ya'er Yahweh Panavaleka V'Komeka. Yisa Yahweh Panavaleka V'Sadaka. Shalom. May Yahweh bless you and keep you. May Yahweh make his face shine upon you and show you his favor. And may Yahweh lift his countenance upon you and give you what? Shalom. Peace. Nothing missing, nothing broken, and nothing lacking. All right. We want to encourage all of you to visit us on our YouTube channel. It's Dr. Russ E. Hoover. Dr. Russ E. Hoover on YouTube. Certainly, feel free to join, watch these videos over again, hit the like button, feel free to share them with others. We're all about changing lives. And so if you're getting blessed by these messages, make sure you share with someone else. Don't be stingy. All right. So until next week, we're going to wish everyone Shavua Tov. Be blessed. Have a blessed week. All right.